This year, as gigs are canceled
and stages go dark,
it can feel hopeless.
Don't let the lights go out on you or your bandmates.
Your union brothers and sisters are here for you.
the AFM is fighting to get members help with unemployment assistance.
We're working in D.C. to help protect working people.
And we're standing up to get musicians back performing safely.
And most importantly, we want you to be healthy both physically and mentally.
Please reach out and check in on your friends.
It's okay to ask if they're okay, and it's okay to not be okay.
We will return again when the curtains call.
Until then, stay safe,
Stay healthy.
stay positive.
Find more resources and assistance
At AFM.org/.
Help.
And remember,
Together, we are stronger.
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 Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever and whenever you're watching us. Welcome to another episode of Conical Supremacy. I'm John Noreko, and we've been doing this for quite a few weeks right now, and I'd like to take just a second to introduce my co-host, the guy who thought this thing up, Mr. Doug Tornquist. Doug, how you doing today, man?
Good, John. It's good to see you. Did you have a nice week?
Back at you, man. Yeah. The horn was on my face a lot, which is kind of cool.
Good.
Ran into some issues. I think I got a little brass poisoning at the end of the week. I think it was hammering away a little too hard. That happens with me. One thing that was really interesting to me was there was a little chat thing going on, and this guy was tired of the repertoire and wanted something else to play on tuba. So being the person I am, I chimed in and I said, well, play whatever you want. And he's going, I don't understand. I said, you can play anybody's instrument stuff. Just read it and play it. That'll get you less bored. He says, I still don't get it. And then somebody chimed in and goes, you don't think like everybody else, do you, John?
Well, I've known that, but you know that saying, John, when a man is tired of Paris, he's tired of life.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I mean, I was thinking about this the other day because I was having a lesson and we were talking about the cello suites and how that's part of our repertoire now. And here we are, this person and these people have this idea that, well, that's part of the repertoire, but it's written for cello. So what's the diff? Where's the disconnect in this stuff? I don't understand it. I really don't. Violin, flute, that Mickey, all the Telemann stuff that Mickey did. Oh my God, does it lay great? It's just so much fun to play. Yeah. It's just fun to play. I think that's the cool thing about music is that it's that open book thing. If you're willing to turn a page and look at something else, that's when stuff gets really fun.
It does.
It opens. Yeah, go ahead, please.
But I'm a person who can be completely satisfied by playing a C major scale. I mean, I think there's an entire world. And, Harvey Phillips used to talk about this. He talked about playing the repertoire of all the other instruments. Talk about not having enough music for tuba. Try playing the tuba in the late 1940s when there truly was nothing to play. And he took the music of all the other instruments to really try to learn articulation like an oboe, articulation like a violinist. He talked about that. Like he would knock on the door of the oboe player and say, hey, can I come in and play with you? I want to see how you do it. And we can still do that. I mean, we've got so much music now, a lot of it thanks to Harvey, quite honestly.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know. I think that should be part of the diet. You should have, as I've heard, the pedagological mafia just needs to chill and, and have other stuff as part of it's like a sonic sorbet in a lot of ways.
A sonic sorbet. That has got to be the title of your next album.
No, we've been using, I hate to say it, but we've been using that one for a while.
Well, it's brilliant.
No, it's just it. I really think of it that way too because it's like such a palate cleanser. Um, One of my students, remember I sent you that Bach violin thing, right? So I gave it to him to start working on, and I said, "Look, I'm going to work on it the same time that you're working on it. And when you decide that you want to perform it for me, then I'll perform it for you, and then we'll see where we're at." And this guy, man, it's Lorenzo, by the way, um, stepping up.
Yeah.
I mean, just, mostly because it's fun as hell to play, first of all, but and something that we don't get to do a lot. And I think that's really, once again, it's a cleanser. It's this palate cleanser for it. And then you can come back and use that stuff that you've learned there and apply it to the other stuff as well.
Oh, sure.
Because it's just this or it's just that. And that's I wish people would start thinking more of it that way, as opposed to bump, 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 bump. Okay, cool, that's fine. But isn't it just this in E flat? I just, for me, it's weird. But hey, how was your session this week? I'm really curious because you got some of your friends were there and everything, and it sounded like it was fun.
It was a blast. It was a very large brass section. It was 12 French horns, 12 trombones, 2 trumpets.
Awesome.
Yeah, and it was a lot of sound, and it was, oh my gosh, are you ready? This might sound shocking, but it was major chords and it was minor chords, we were playing music, we were playing phrases and melodies and harmonies and harmonic progressions, and it was just the happiness in the room was palpable. You could feel that everyone was just delighted to be there and to be playing music, and that's just a great feeling.
Especially with that in that setting with those many people. I mean, that's like old days stuff where you'd have just 80 people in a room or whatever, but to have this augmented brass section there, I bet you it just sounded wonderful too.
Well,
I mean,
that's one thing we commented on, is that that because of the COVID protocols, we can't have an 80-piece orchestra.
Right.
They limit the number of the people in a room. So the sessions we have been doing have been just brass, and it's been incredible to hear the sound of just brass in these historic recording studios. It's a treat we don't get to do. We don't get all the time, and it was just really, really lovely. It's so easy to hear in those rooms, and you can hear across the room and find the notes you need to tune to, and everybody's doing that. The whole thing. It's always adjusting, and it's just wonderfully resonant. It's great to feel that in your body again. Get out of this room and just play with people and for people. It was real nice.
Yeah, I mean, kudos, my friend, because now I'm a little jealous. But
we'll be back to work soon.
But along those same lines, Quinn and I were talking, and I hope you don't mind if we do this, but everybody out there, Conical Supremacy is archived and available to look at on my YouTube channel, which is John Noreko on YouTube. And I've also got some stuff up there, and I hope you don't mind, but I'd like to play one of my tube and film things for you right now, if that's okay, Doug.
Love it. Let's hear it.
This one is one of my fave James Horner ones. Tommy's playing tuba on this one. But I also want to tell everybody that if you're out there looking for some cool stuff to play, there's a bunch of stuff on my channel and on Conical Supremacy as well. Also, I'd like to point out that if anybody is looking for a concerto coach, my co-host is the guy. That's you. If one lesson, you'll be playing better. And that's all I can tell you is that, because Doug, I hate to say it, you love concertos, and I don't hate to say it because I love listening to you play them, but you play your ass off on all that stuff, man. I mean, it just sounds wonderful.
Thank you.
So everybody out there, if you're looking for a concerto coach, this guy right here, and you'll be able to get a hold of him through our website. But here's a little thing I did over COVID. I hope you guys enjoy it. It's the Star Trek II theme for Wrath of Khan. So here you go. Play it, Quinn. unbelievable Mr. Alan Kaplan. What's going on, Alan?
How are you? That's my new Osmond Brothers act.
Hey, man, thank you so much for being here today and being our guest. I can't wait to talk to you, and also for our audience to hear about your career. And I mean, that is just awesome trombone playing. It just blows my mind. It just
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
no, absolutely beautiful sound, beautiful. It's brass playing at its finest, Doug.
It is. And Alan, I've already asked you this. So, I mean, part of being on our show is that we embarrass you with praise. So
yeah, so get used to it, bro.
Oh, shucks. I'll handle it.
Someone, one of our colleagues was at work, and I asked, have you heard Alan's new CD? And he said, no, he just gave it to me. And I said, well, prepare yourself, because I put that thing in the car, and from the first tune, it kind of brought me to tears. Just the level of playing, the musicianship. Now, this piece, okay, you are known as a jazz and commercial player, okay? So, of course, we start off with Tchaikovsky. And furthermore, that is written for pizzicato strings. So, of course, it should be played on trombone. Right. And
yeah.
So...
No, yes! Yes!
Yes!
And so and you did the same thing with the Brahms on your new CD. I listened to the slow moon of the Brahms Third Symphony. I'm like, okay, not only can you play the trombone, you know how to play Brahms. I think, well, that's not every trombone player. So, and I remember after I listened to your CD, I came up to you at work. I said, Alan, how did you do that? Was there a click track? Of course there was. Now, I'm listening to this. How did you decide on those absolutely perfect tempos? Do you just feel it?
Well, for different things, I will say that for a project like this, when you're doing 7 parts, 6 parts, you really have to have clicks. Some people think they can learn the rubatos and match themselves, but it takes so much longer. So the whole thing is to lay in the tempo map at first. And I'm either really trying to sing it in my head while I program in the clicks, like the retards and the, accelerandos, those things are challenging. And also, how long do you want to hold the note? But I'm going to add a beat for fermatas and how much space after the release till I begin the next phrase. All those things have to be thought about. And I have to say, there's been some trial and error where I was going
to say, Alan, that holding a note, right? We all only have so much.
Of course.
And a tempo map on that. I mean, come on, man. I mean, I'm feeling very Herculean today, so therefore it's going to be this.
But I basically took a particular recording, like of the Brahms. I imported that Brahms from a recording I had at Chicago Symphony, and I couldn't exactly copy it, but I got very close to it. That was my guide.
Okay.
Same thing with Flax and Hair, the John Williams conducting that I use. So if you listen to recordings vary greatly of tempos, but that's what I will use if it's available. Now, if it's something that I don't have a recording, then it's simply something I do on my own. And many of the Hoyts things, there's no recordings available of them for the film and stuff. So.
I loved your in that Alex North chart, the way it goes from straight to swung, beat by beat. It was just so incredibly effective.
Thank you. And that one, there was no recording, but I just, in playing the music, kind of decided this should be straight, this should be swung, and the overall tempo just, it just feels right. Sometimes it's like, what key do you want to do something in? You just have to know what feels right. And like I said, there's some trial and error. In this case, the key was what was written, but not the tempo. Tempo was simply tempos, whatever I felt.
You've got instinct. It's funny. I mean, one would think, okay, you're just jumped on the train that we all did after the quarantine hit of multi-tracking yourself, but you've been doing this for years. Because I remember your first album came out few years ago. Well, the first Hoyt's album, and that was all you as well, long before other people were doing this.
And on Lonely Town, my first album, which I recorded in 2001, I also did 2 tracks. I called them bonus tracks, where I did Try to Remember, which was another of Hoyt's Singers Unlimited releases, and another one, Don't Like Goodbyes, that Bob Alcivar arranged. So that's 20 years ago. I have been doing this multi-track stuff for a while. Of course, that's back when it was wood-burning analog recorders.
Hey, you know what? Speaking of going back, and speaking of tempo and stuff, I've got a clip here that I want to play, and I think it's one of the reasons why I love your time so much. And when I listen to you play both legit and jazz, and I'm going to play the clip, and then I'm going to ask you: is it because of this and the absolute fear that was instilled in you? So here's the clip right now. I think you'll know what I mean. So obviously, there's a very young Alan Kaplan on Buddy Rich's band. And that's kind of where I was going with this thing, because I got to see Buddy a lot. And and you either went with Buddy or you're dead. And that's the way it was. And guess what? He was right pretty much 99% of the time.
Yeah.
And to sit there and have a rhythm section like that with somebody driving the band like that, that must have made, I mean, how old were you when you were on the band, Alan?
I was still 19 when I joined.
19. See, man.
And in that video, I was 21.
You were 21. Okay, so you're 21 there. Yeah, you got a couple years under your belt in Buddy's band. I mean, was it kind of like when those type of charts came up and it was time for the solo, it was kind of like, was it really sitting on a wave, or, because Buddy would have it no other way? I mean, just like, boom, I got no problem with this, let's just go. Or was it work?
No, it wasn't. I wouldn't say it was work, but the whole thing was such a high level
Right.
of intensity.
Right.
Because as you see, what Buddy gave 110% all the time. There was no slack off in Buddy Rich. I mean, he gave everything he had every night, and he expected that from us. So in terms of intensity and volume and playing the parts as we did, he wanted us to play really loud. He even gave a speech one time and said, "You guys play loud, I'll do all the shading." So
just out of curiosity, Alan, what year was that? And I'm sorry if I ask.
It was 1973.
That was 73?
That's
right,
the video.
So that, and just because I'm a big Buddy Rich fan, the band was really smoking then.
That was a fantastic group right there.
I mean, everybody was there to play their asses off. I mean, you can tell from the recordings then too. And Buddy, did you think Buddy was like, that was kind of like the heyday for his thing? Or do you think that was more late 60s? Or, I mean.
Oh, listen, I think Buddy played the top of his game right up until he died in 87. Buddy was phenomenal. He was as good as probably he'd ever been. It was unbelievable. Yeah. The first year I was playing second, and I was sitting right next to him. And, it was sort of understood that we watch him when he plays the solo. We're all turned to the side to see him play. And my friends were drummers. I mean, I knew about the technique and watching these amazing hands at work.
Well, it explains your time, man. I mean, your time is impeccable, man. I've never, it truly is. And you know what? Since we're on this roll of nostalgia,
more and more all the time.
I want everybody to know out there, Alan, like Doug said, Alan is not only a great legit trombone player, but he's one hell of a jazzer too. Alan, just how many movies have you done now?
It's around 1,000.
See, once again, if you want it the first time, you call Alan. So the really cool thing is the next clip I want to play was with I'm blanking, Merv Griffin, and one of my heroes actually, because I've been watching Jeopardy for over 30 years straight every night. Drives my family crazy. But I remember as a kid watching the Merv Griffin show. Doug, did you remember watching the Merv Griffin show as a kid?
Yeah, after school, I would.
Yeah, exactly. Me too. And this particular clip, Merv's going to sing, and he's got a full studio orchestra, and Mr. Kaplan is featured throughout the whole thing. And I just think, I don't know where you found this, Alan, but who did the chart on this one, this medley?
Okay, let me tell you a little setup about this.
Yeah, please.
I was on the show, you know, his regular talk show, his 5-day-a-week talk show, and it was a 10-piece band, and we had done this particular you're going to show just with the small band. But then, while I was with Merv, he sold his company to Coca-Cola. He had a ton of money, so the show went off the air. But he put all of his energy into trying to get a variety once-a-week show. So this was a pilot called the Coconut Ballroom. So we taped 2 episodes. Unfortunately, it never went on the air. But this is the taping. And Mort Lindsay did the arrangement. Mort was our musical director.
Yeah. Yeah. So hey, let's all check out this clip right now. I just dig it. So anyway, so play it, Quinn.
I know it's raining, but I'm not complaining. This kind of weather keeps us together. Rain, let us cuddle while it rains. There's no reason to complain if she's with you. A chance to while away a dreamy afternoon, a lovely peaceful afternoon. No one can see us. Rain, it's so cozy in the rain. There's no reason to complain if she's with you. To hold your hand, and then it's 10 to 1. You'll kiss her in the rain. Rain, rain. When's it gonna stop? Someone get 'em up. You won't mind the stormy skies if only you could realize that every time that it rains, pennies from heaven. Moona, moona. Don't you know each cloud contains pennies from heaven? All the moona. You'll find your fortune falling all over town. Be sure that your umbrella is upside down. Trade 'em for a package of sunshine and flowers. What a begonia. If you want the things you love, you must have showers. I get pneumonia. So when you hear it thunder, don't run under a tree. There'll be pennies from heaven for you and me and Alan Kaplan. So when you hear it thunder, don't run under a tree. There'll be pennies from heaven. There'll be dollars on dewdrops. pennies from heaven for you and me. It's raining, it's pouring, the old man is snoring. The Mertel, Chris, Pat, Bobby, Reggie. Thank you.
All right, so in my wheelhouse, that's just the funnest stuff that there is. Yeah, I mean, I love it. I mean, you know, if I ever had that kind of money, that would be my house every weekend. No, I mean, I'm not kidding you, man. I mean, first of all, the chart was great, and second of all, I mean, duh. But the guys on the band, I mean, the band was just swinging hard, man. I mean, who was in the rhythm section on that?
Oh, that was John. That was John Guerin on drums.
Yeah.
And since the regular bass player for the talk show was Reggie McBride, but he was singing, so that was Chuck Berghofer playing bass.
Oh, so it was Chuck. Okay, well that
Chuck
makes
Berghofer
that tells you right there.
Right, and Mort Lindsay was playing piano, and
Mort,
also the trumpet solo was Jack Sheldon because he was a regular in the small group,
course,
and Plaz Johnson played the tenor. The three of us were the horns in the weekly show, the daily show.
Man, I mean, what an absolute gas doing that show every week, especially just live. I can only imagine. I mean, I got to see the Tonight Show band a few times in person, and live music in that setting is just such a huge thing. What was it like? I mean, were you starting to get a lot of work because of the show in town?
Well, I was already doing quite a bit at that point.
Really?
So I had already been doing it. While I was doing this, I was actually doing Star Search and a couple of spin-off shows that they had. That was sort of like the predecessor to American Idol.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a really good run at that time. That was in the early 80s.
Alan. Doug and I remember that. But thank you for the
okay. I'm glad you do. I forget who I'm talking to sometimes.
No, dude. Yeah.
What we don't even realize today is how integral musicians were to TV production.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, Alan, you weren't. I mean, you were busy, but were you the busiest guy or among the busiest guys?
Some people said I was. I never thought I was, but I was certainly doing great. You know, I had some people say I was, but who knows? You know, we don't know what everybody's doing.
Yeah,
I was doing great. You know, right after the Merv Griffin, after this happened, when Merv took his show off the air, then the Joan Rivers show started with a big band, and I was on that. So it was an amazing period in the 80s of live TV shows that I was doing. Plus, I was already doing, you know, film, TV, and some movies.
Right. So you were working. You were totally at the right place at the right time. And as I was watching that, I'm thinking, okay, you know, as like Tommy Lasorda said, I mean, you've forgotten more than we're ever going to know. I mean, you've had so many lives. I mean, you
awesome.
Okay, you're on the road with one of the greatest stars of the big bands, and you got to see, you know, the end of that era. And see, I remember watching the Merv Griffin show as a kid, and Merv would say, "Oh, the big bands are coming back," and I know that was like Merv's dream. And here he put a big band together for the show, and you were in it, and you got to do that whole splashy thing. But then at the same time, you're building this huge career, which took you through the next 20 years of film and TV recording and records as well.
Well, you know what, Doug? Thank you so much for bringing that up, because that's a great segue into where I was thinking we should go next. Your jazz playing is kind of, because we talked earlier before the show, and Doug didn't hear it, but
You won't say why.
Gosh, I gotta stop. Anyway, Alan, your style of jazz playing, I think, I mean, who was the guy? And I'm waiting for you, because I know who I think it is, but I'd like you to tell me.
Well, of course, I had many idols, but I'd say for jazz trombone playing, my number one favorite has always been Carl Fontana.
And I would agree with you. Carl was, is one of the most consummate brass players and improvisers, and just amazing trombone playing. Truly. And I hold him in very high esteem as an improviser as well, because as you and I both know, and Doug, you probably know this too, when you improvise, especially the jazz idiom, your instrument kind of tells you what it can and can't do, and then it's up to you to kind of push that envelope to say, well, no, come on, let's go do this. And now with the trombone, there's a certain amount of fluidity that needs to be there. And I would look at Carl move his slide, and it's like effortless, just no tension, no nothing. We're just going to do this today. And was that one of the things that I would like to aspire to do that on my valves without having to do that? But I mean, was that like a huge aspiration of yours, is to be that relaxed, to be that sure?
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. You know,
I mean, how do you how did you get to that point? Because I've heard you play similar shit, man, and
well,
you know, you're pretty damn. I mean, you're there.
Well, I've worked very hard. I mean, I had to learn to play fast when I was with Buddy Rich. Because I can tell you, when I first got there on second trombone, most of the jazz solos were in the first book, and they had a guy named Rick Culver playing lead.
Yeah, I used to work with Rick.
Rick played extremely fast. I mean, he could do that, double time it, and he was killing it every night. And I realized, well, I really want to be able to move up to play first when Rick leaves, but I got to be able to do that. So that's when I started seriously woodshedding, and I'm taking all the Carl Fontana licks I can and working them out, and also a lot of other things. I was making a big study of it, but certainly Carl was my number one favorite. So
yeah, because
that's kind of where that came from.
Because when I listen to you play, I also hear a little Rosalino in there as well, and you know, the mixture of those two guys. Because to be honest with you, man, I mean, those two cats, I don't know how they got that good, and how that, you know, as far as the ideas coming out, right? And speaking of that, we got a clip here, and of Mr. Kaplan and Mr. Fontana trading fours, trading eights, playing together. And to be honest with you, do you want to set this video up, Alan? Because it's kind of, it looks like it was at a festival of some sort.
No, it was at a club here in Sherman Oaks called Moonlight Tango. And the big bands we were working there pretty regularly with big bands. I forget how many nights they had the big bands, but I would play there quite often because every band leader, you know, would want to work there. And this particular night, Louise Behringer, she had done an album, and this was her big band that she put together. And she said that she was going to have Carl come in to be a guest soloist. Would I like to do a feature with him? And I was going to be in the band. And I said, absolutely, that'd be exciting.
Yeah, man.
That's what it was. It was at Moonlight Tango. I don't remember the year. I want to say like early 90s. I guess.
Early 90s?
Yeah.
So Carl was still there. Everything was cool, right?
He was fine. Yeah, he was totally with it. You know.
That's great, man. I mean, this would be like, you know, for Doug and I, like, to have our ultimate mentor sitting there just back and forth all the time with that whole, when you cease to be the student and become the colleague thing. And I think that's really, really important. Which, like, rite of passage type of thing, because when all of a sudden you're not thought of, oh, well, there's this kid, you know, and he plays pretty good, as opposed to, you know, I'm really glad you're here tonight, man. Thank you for showing up. And
well, Carl, I gotta say, Carl, I knew Carl pretty well by that point. We had worked together with Paul and stuff, so we were friends, and so he made it very comfortable. Carl couldn't have been any more congenial. He was a sweetheart. So fortunately, because he was like that, I didn't feel petrified, but I was certainly intimidated, of course.
Well, let me tell you, on this clip, you don't sound it, bro. So let's go ahead and roll this, okay, Quinn? All right, so man, I mean, seriously, okay. So first of all, who was in the rhythm section for that? Because that was rock solid.
Oh boy. Boy.
Don't hurt yourself.
I don't remember. I'd have to look at,
That was rock solid. But But I think for the audience out there, both Alan and I know, and maybe Doug, you actually might know this too, but playing rhythm changes is kind of like a rite of passage, actually. And I try to have all my students play rhythm changes in all 12 because I think that's really important. But to be able to sit there and play that many choruses with Carl Fontana on rhythm changes, I mean, what's going through your head? I mean, it's like, all right, so do I pull out my stuff? Do I do his stuff? Do I do this? Do I do that? Because, you know, in the moment, right? You know, I mean, we've been there because it's like, all right, I'm so tired of my crap. What am I going to play?
You know, I don't think I had any conscious thoughts. I mean, it was pure instinct at that point. You know, I had no idea what I was going to do, and I probably, if I hadn't had this video, I wouldn't have remembered what I did do. You know, it's just,
well, you know, back at you, man. I mean, it's always like, yeah, whatever, let's move on. Because at least it is for me. But to being able to do that type of thing, I mean, with one of your heroes, I that must have been just so gratifying when the tune was over. I mean, did you guys play together all night, or was that just one tune and that was that?
No, that was just one tune, and he had a ballad, another feature that he had done with the band. He only came into a couple of things, this one and another tune, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but like I said, we had been friends. He had stayed at my house one time when he was in town with another group, so luckily he made it very comfortable for me. But he was, without a doubt, my number one jazz hero.
No,
So
I don't blame you. I don't blame you one bit, man. Hey, you know, Doug, we were talking about this new CD that Alan's got out, and I picked two of my favorites, and I hope they're your favorites too. But Tosca is one of my, I was telling Alan this earlier today, probably my favorite Puccini opera, mostly because of the story and the music and just the whole thing, man. It's just, it's such a beautiful, beautiful thing. And you've got to play Tosca. So can you give me a little bit on that, man? What's it like sitting in the pit doing that?
Oh, well, okay. For a tuba player, you know, opera is either heaven or hell. I mean, for instance, in Madame Butterfly, it's a 3-hour opera. I think you have 120 notes to play. And I love it. You know, it'll say in the margin of the part, you know, sit here for 10 minutes, and then you've got another part coming. You know, we're not talking about bar numbers. We're talking about minutes at the opera. And it's incredible. You know, there you are. You've got the best seat in the house. The singers are above you. You're surrounded by the world's greatest orchestra. It's incredible. And Tosca, I was really pleased to see this on the album. I mean, this is part of the cello solo, right?
It starts with the introduction is the cello quartet right before that. Yeah.
So I really wanted to play this. This is Alan. Did you put up your CD information on your page? And if you want to put it up on the chat right now, please do so. This CD is available. Is it also on digital download as well, or Spotify?
Yes, yeah. It's on all the sites: Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music. It's everywhere.
So this particular arrangement of this piece from Tosca, Alan, this was Hoyt's arrangement as well.
It was, and Hoyt had a few of his pieces published, and this was one of them. This was one of his favorites, and this was published by a company called Kendor, which is out of business now. But this was made available years ago.
And how many parts are you playing on this?
I'm playing 7 parts.
7 parts. So when we were talking earlier about the tempo map and everything else like that, on something like this, which is kind of like an arrangement where you're taking a bunch of thematic material and kind of melding it into Puccini's thing. Were you thinking more vocally on this, or were you thinking more instrumental on this, or were you kind of have like a mishmash going on as far as that was concerned?
Well, certainly during the last part where it is the vocal, I was thinking of the vocal.
Right.
For sure. And I listened to a bunch of different recordings, and the one I most tried to copy was one of the recordings I have of Pavarotti. You know, and I basically tried to match as best I could his tempo with limitations with how long I could hold the notes.
Yeah, well, I think you stuck it, man. So, because this is an absolutely beautiful piece of music with unbelievably beautiful playing. And Quint, let's roll that right now. So, just so you guys know, we'll still be on screen while it's playing, so we can catch reactions and stuff like that. So here's a little Tosca by Alan. All right, so my goodness, what always blows me away about your playing, Alan, and I don't understand. And by the way, that was just absolutely beautiful. First of all, no, truly. But part of that beauty is when you're in the tessitura of the instrument, nothing changes. You sound your sound in the mid range and the meat of the horn is exactly timbre, tone, quality, everything the same in the tessitura. And man, what's up with that? I mean, come on, man. That ain't cool. I mean, seriously, no, I'm not kidding. I've heard very few trombone players or brass players, for that matter, where that meat of sound that you bring in the regular register of the instrument is also apparent there in the high tessitura as well, because everything, sonically things tend to do this thing, but for you, I don't know how you figured that out. Is that something conscious, or are you just letting that go and doing what you're doing, man? Because I got to ask you about that, because it's beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I've done a lot of work my upper register for decades. Just for the things I've had to do, and besides, of course, like playing first trombone, whether it be in a big band or other things, you need to have the strength. I just always aspired to that sound that I would hear. My heroes in terms of like the high ballad trombone players, Dick Nash, Lloyd Iliad.
Right.
They certainly have that quality of huge sound, no matter how high they get on the horn, and that's what I've always aspired.
Because as tuba players, Doug, you and I both know we're going after that whole. We want to sound nasty on the bottom and cool just as much as we want to sound nasty and cool on top as well. And I mean, is it just an instrument thing, Doug, do you think? Or is it just because of the way the trombone is? I got to know, man, because, you.
Yes. Well, my thought is this. I mean, our instruments, I'll be philosophical, our instruments are limitless. And, since the show was about Alan, I'm just going to say my guess is that it was your vision to make those kinds of sounds and play that effortlessly in the high register. And that's one thing that I think is so important about this entire album and your presentation. I mean, the facts are also that this was your quarantine project. You worked on this from April through December, in my understanding. While some of us were waiting for things to get back to normal, you got busy and made an album. And for me, it's such a great tribute to your own playing. I mean, it's like a textbook on style, phrasing, and articulation. But also, I know the legacy of Hoyt's Garage is really important to you. You wrote about that on your website, and it was a place where people got noticed and careers were launched, and where colleagues were able to take younger colleagues under their wing and kind of show you the ropes. But it was also a place for you to go and show what you had to show. And the fact that you took that music and kind of recreated that atmosphere while making this connection of trombone styles from the current day 2021 to the time when Hoyt's Garage was flourishing and to the time when you first started in the business with Buddy Rich, and then all the sounds you had in your ear as a student of trombone before that. I know I went far afield from the question, but that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're absolutely right. And we just got in the chat, Alan. Bob Sanders says hello and said that Hoyt would be very pleased. And I agree. I mean, it's just awesome. I'd like to play another cut off this record, please. And Doug, maybe you can set this one up. I was thinking about the Clair de Lune, mostly because it's just beautiful, first of all. But so many people do arrangements of this tune and whatnot, and we have that, Bellagio fountain thing in our heads and our minds, which was fine. I'm glad, that thing. But I can think of probably 10 different versions of this. How about you, Doug?
Sure. I mean, I'm most familiar with the piano version. I played it when I was a kid. What I like about Alan's version is the balancing of the voices. The high notes, which I've played this for a few people, and their jaw drops and their eyebrows go up when you play those high notes, which are just astonishing. And it's good music, it's good trombone playing, and it's good WC. So it's a beautiful recording.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I'd like everybody to take a listen now to Claire de Lune.
I'm not hearing you, John. I've lost everybody.
That's just the. Are you there?
Yeah, now I hear you.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, what can I say, man? It was just absolutely beautiful. I mean, beautiful playing, beautiful writing, just beautiful stuff, man. And I think Doug's right. I mean, everybody should be. I mean, what were those? I'm trying to remember now. It was like high whatevers.
Well, the top note was a G. The highest note was a G, and then a lot of Fs. There were a lot of high Fs.
Yeah, there were a lot of high Fs.
Well, the wonders of being able to record yourself and punch in.
I was just going to ask you that one little section there where you were coming off. I think it was like a high C or something like that. BD da 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 da. I mean, just to come out of nowhere. I mean, I guess what I'm asking you is, do you try to play each part through once and see if what's going on? I mean, see if you got it together, or do you know? Are you gonna piece it together?
Oh, well, in terms of individual parts, I try to play start to finish one part all the way with the clicks. I prefer to do the top down, but these arrangements, the top moves, so I have to go with whatever I think it's most important to lay the time down with to match with. Because time is important to me kind of things. That one, not so much. That's a pretty constant tempo. But I try to do the top parts first and fill in below. I save the bass trombones for last. And then for intonation, I may re-record some of the inner parts as the pitch becomes more apparent as I get more voices in. But you got to start somewhere. And I usually start high. You know,
Yeah,
I like to start on the top.
But your pitch is impeccable. First of all, I couldn't. I mean, seriously, Doug, could you hear anything? I couldn't. No, it's just.
No.
I mean, and I'm the worst. I am the.
Every time I hear this, I want to keep doing more takes. So it's hard for me.
Well, hey, you know, Doug knows this too, and you know this all too well. Of course you do. That's why it's a 4-hour call. It's time to go home, and you got to live with it. That's just the way it is.
But you know, like some of these things, some of these extremely high things, like when we went to the G, I get a few shots at that, and if I don't get a good one, I'm done for a while. I'm back tomorrow, you know. So some of these things, I'd love to say I did them first time perfectly, but that would be an alternative side, you know.
Well, it's just, you know, I mean, Alan, I was lucky. I got to know you as a colleague when I first started out, and I met you as a guy who played trombone on sessions, and then the more I got to know you, I realized, okay, that's just the tip of the iceberg. And whatever you've done, you've been at the top of your game, you know, playing big bands, TV shows, film and TV production. I've even done some orchestral work with you, and now recording. You know, I have one question. Well, I have two questions. One is, you know, were you ever, I mean, you've done more than most of us ever going to dream of doing. Were you ever tempted to like rest on your laurels and say, okay, it's enough?
I can't imagine.
And
I can't imagine that, actually.
And I know that you're not done. What's like, do you have any projects coming up or any dreams that you're going to tackle next?
I have ideas.
Okay.
You know, but that's all. You know, this is so recent, but yeah, I'm going to continue. But I think I can safely say this is it for Hoyt's Garage stuff. I mean, I feel thrilled that I was able to do this, but that's probably all I'm going to do of this time.
You've done it justice, and I know you're selling these charts on your website, which is beautiful, so other people can continue this legacy.
We have that up in the chat, Quinn.
Yeah, I have all the information. And by the way, Doug wrote the liner notes for The Secrets of Hoyt's Garage. That's Doug's wonderful writing. And then I quote an article that Jim Boltinghouse had written explaining the whole group. So I didn't do one word of that, just so everybody understands. Doug.
I didn't know you did that, Douglas. You liar. You were holding out, man. You sent me a CD and you don't even tell me. What's up?
We were sitting on a session one time and I gave him a bunch of notes and ideas. I said, can you do you think you could put this into better words than I because I'm not happy with this. And he came back with
Alan, I think you chose the right guy because I can't tell you enough. I get emails from Doug who are and they're perfectly worded. And I have it's so readable and worded well, and it's just like it's a pleasure to email you back.
Exactly. I understand completely.
Well, hey man, I hate to say this, but Doug and Alan, we've come to our time, and let me tell you something, man. What an absolute pleasure to have you on the show today. No, absolutely, man. We've only got to play together a couple of times, but those have been great situations. And listening to you with your new stuff is just an absolute joy for me as a brass player and a musician. Unbelievable. Just unbelievable. And good call, Doug.
I knew it would be. Yeah, Alan is, multifaceted individual, fascinating to talk to, and man, you've got the best stories. We're gonna.
Yeah. I mean, we could do another show on stories alone, but thanks a lot, man. And Doug, this is one thing I didn't know that Alan did, and we're gonna play this on the way out. But he decided he was going to encroach on our territory and pick the tuba up on one of Wayne Bergeron's records for a Christmas thing. And, stop it. Okay? Let us do that, okay? Just, okay?
I promise. I promise.
All right. Thanks a lot, man. Well, hey, we're going to play that tune on the way out for you, but I want to thank Alan and always Doug, my very good friend, and all of you out there for tuning in today to Conical Supremacy. We're going to be back again next Saturday, Doug?
Next Saturday.
Great. And just an FYI moment for all the audience out there, in the month of March, we're going to be shifting to Sundays, like today. Some of us have got work, Tech Sergeant Quinn. So join us in March. We're going to have a bunch of new shows. Next week should prove to be interesting. And I don't know, you got anything else, Doug?
No, just thank you so much. It's been a beautiful hour that passed way too quickly. Thanks, Alan, for coming on.
Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, my absolute pleasure. And here's a little thing on the way out.
Well, where can people find Alan's new album?
Oh,
I've linked it, but
that's right. Quinn just everybody out there, Alan's new album. Quinn just linked everything to the chat, so just all you got to do is click on this episode or on the chat right now, and it'll take you right over to Alan's website and all the stuff that you need to do. That's all things Alan. So here's our last tune. Thanks a lot, folks. Everybody have a great afternoon, evening, or morning, or whatever you're listening to us, and we'll see you again next week. Thanks again. Go for it, Quinn.
Bye.